He goes the Donphan, and I'm like, oh, dude, okay, Shadow Sneak, bam. Protean, Ghost type, Superpower, and I'm like, please don't be banded. Or please be banded. Please be banded. Please be banded. And
The thug is in.
what is up, guys? This is Logan, also known as LRXCN Pokemon Showdown, and we are back to YouTube. Just got done with my experience in 1v1 PL. Godspeed Scollipedes didn't make it, but I thought I would review the 5 ORAS games that I played. This is my first experience in PL, and so let's just get into it. I want to go through my prep, my mindset, how I prep for opponents, why I made the plays that I did, and hopefully you find it interesting, entertaining, and learn something from it. So, week 1, I am up against Bea, who is a very new ORAS player, and I was talking with them a lot before we knew we were playing each other. So I kind of had a general idea on what to prep for. The main Pokemon I built this team around was Aggron, not just because Aggron is a great Pokemon in ORAS 1v1, but because it hard countered a lot of comfort mons that Bea was starting to get into, such as like Specs Landorus, Kyurem Black, Charizard, Togekiss, Mawile. It just beats a lot of stuff. So I like the idea of Aggron. And then another facet of this team that's interesting is Hidden Power Steel on Specs Greninja. Pretty uncommon. The idea of this is that Bea had very simple ideas of ORAS because they're so new and they were being passed teams. They never tried to build teams themselves. And what this Greninja did is it specifically lured in things like Mega Gardevoir, Altaria, Sylveon, because you turn into a Steel type turn 1 by clicking Hidden Power Steel. It did some other stuff too, but that was basically it. And you're still Greninja, so you still do solid stuff. And then Lopunny, because Lopunny's Lopunny. Anyway, looking at this preview, I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is a past team, or maybe they built it themselves. What is the Greninja answer? I thought it was either A, it was Metagross hard tanked for Dark Pulse, which isn't that uncommon because this Metagross is probably anti-Gyarados as well. Or I thought it was going to be a Calm Mind Sableye. And either way, my play was either I can go Greninja and hope that the Metagross is not bulked for Dark Pulse, and hope that the Sableye is not Calm Mind, or I can go Lopunny and hard call out the Sableye. And here I was going in between. I was like, yeah, I could also flinch the Sableye if it's not Calm Mind and all this stuff. And I decided here to just go Lopunny because I really thought that the Sableye was coming out. And I was wrong. Because the Metagross comes out, I don't hit, kill it, Bullet Punch, win. So probably picked Metagross into all 3 of these. Maybe it was bulked for the Dark Pulse from Greninja. Could have relied on a flinch chance, but I felt like I wanted to make a solid pick and not a wishy-washy pick. Because if I picked Greninja into the Sableye, and the Sableye clicked Calm Mind or something, I would have been like, I should have been more confident in that the Sableye was coming out and not trying to cover it with a flinch. Anyway, let's go on to game 2. Got another cool team. I mean, it's kind of simple, but at the same time, maybe not really. The idea of this team is a lot of people, when they start to build ORAS, their ways of beating Whimsicott are very streamlined, and it's usually through the move Poison Jab. Banned Terrakion, banned Sawk, banned Garchomp. You need a Whimsicott answer, you throw on a Poison Jab. And so I like the idea of Kibia Berry. Not that I was hard predicting Bea bringing one of those Pokemon, but I felt like there was a good chance that it would be useful. Here it doesn't do anything at all except maybe cover a Specs Sludge Wave from Landorus, which actually is notable. But anyway, because Whimsicott usually goes Aqua Berry or Babiri Berry. So it was just taking Bea's general ideas of what beats what and turning it on its head. Then paired with, simple banned Victini and the same Greninja pretty much, except I was timid. I don't remember exactly why, but I know that I had a good reason. I always have a good reason for everything, usually. Anyway, looking at this preview, I was looking at Bea's team and I was like, okay, what the heck beats Charizard? Why? Can't be Mawile Venusaur, both hard lose, and so it had to be either a Scarf Landorus or an AV Landorus. And I settled on Assault Vest Landorus because the Heatran matchup was also very tough, so I figured it was maybe some sort of like Rock Tomb, Earthquake, AV Landorus. And So versus me, you always have, what's something that's important as well is always thinking about how the opponent sees your team, because they don't know the sets that you are unless you're running some standard bullshit. Just unless you're running some regular standard stuff. Anyway, I felt that Bea was going to hard focus on the fact that their Landorus beats my Victini, and that I would try to go either Whimsicott into that Landorus or Greninja into that Landorus. And so I actually picked Victini into the Mawile because Taunt Mawile has a pretty solid chance to beat Whimsicott, and if it was fully Spadef invested, which I assumed it was here, because a Specs Greninja can actually run extra sensory to beat Venusaur, I figured it was full Spadef Mawile, and it could have been picked into those two. So I went Victini into that, and I thought to myself, hey, maybe I'll cover a Venusaur, hoping that it isn't max defense. So Venusaur comes out, and I'm a little bit nervous because they can tank 2 Zen Headbutts. Turns out this one is not fully physically defensive, so I just win with Zen Headbutt. Called them out. They were picking into the Whimsicott / the Greninja, and we got him. Game 3. Very cool team that I brought here. I mean, it's, even though the tech didn't get to be revealed, I still think it's cool. So the idea behind this team is I saw Bea using this team a bit, this exact same preview, the same preview of Sableye, Heatran, Togekiss in order. So I wanted to try to play a mind game and use that exact same preview and just switch up all the sets. The main set that I want to talk about here is this crazy Roselli Berry Sableye, because Sableye is 99% of the time going to be Mega Sableye. The idea behind this Sableye was luring in something like a Gardevoir clicking Hyper Voice, Metal Burst Sucker, and I click Metal Burst and win, an Altaria, a Sylveon, I forgot how Mawile works, yeah, maybe even a Mawile, just crazy stuff like that, and I still do Sableye stuff with Metal Burst and Sucker Punch. I mean, Sucker Punch is very uncommon, but anyway, another cool aspect about this is, so into this preview, no matter what Sableye I am, I'm probably going to beat the Registeel, and I could beat the Manaphy with Taunt. But this Sableye actually can finesse Charizard X. What I do is I Taunt turn 1, hope they Dragon Dance, Metal Burst on the Flare Blitz, and then kill them with Sucker because they still have to attack. So I definitely could have gone Sableye here, but I figured like that would be me hoping it's Zard X, and I honestly wasn't super certain what Charizard it was, but I figured they were going to go whatever beats the Sableye here. And I knew that I don't think Bea was confident enough at this time to predict what Togekiss said I was or what Sableye said I was, which Manaphy has some awkward matchups versus, and so I figured they were going Charizard, and so I went Heatran hard calling out the Charizard, and then, you know, I kind of side cover Registeel in case for some reason they go that. And here I was correct, and it turns out I was ultra correct because they were Zard Y and not Zard X, which if I went Sableye and made the wishy-washy pick, hoping they were the right Charizard, I would have lost. So thankfully I did trust my gut, and I went the Heatran here. So I'm up 2-1. I'm feeling good, obviously, as you can see by the team on your screen currently. And yeah, let's check it out. So I wanted to build around double Charizard. I felt doubles and ORAS were something that were unexplored. That's what makes ORAS such a great generation, is because there's no species clause, so you can get very creative with bringing multiple Pokemon and getting opponents to overthink. And some people think it's gimmicky, but I actually think there is a certain skill to it and a cool mindset to it. Anyway, my Belly Drum Iron Tail Charizard didn't do anything. That's supposed to lure opposing Mega Altaria as well as Diancie, as you can see by me having Dragon Dance and then no Outrage, which is pretty crazy, but you know, you got to take risks. It's Pokemon, like I don't care. What's the noticeable thing here is, yes, also this Altaria Body Slam Earthquake is a Heatran lure. What I like about it is that it's not ultra obvious, because Zard X can run this crazy Brick Break set to beat Heatran. So I didn't feel like it was super obvious, and Altaria still does Altaria things for this, you know, beating Terrakion, Gyarados, etc. So, looking at Bea's team, my Zard Y is looking really good. Here's why. With my HP investment and access to substitute, I will beat most common Greninjas. Specs Greninja, I tank, and I can always try to click substitute turn 1. The reason being is that even though substitute fails on the Hydro, I can just Solar Beam turn 2 when they try to recharge. And if they are the common sub Torrent set, I can sub myself as they click substitute. And because the only move they have that can break my sub is a recharge move, I still just Solar Beam twice. So I really liked it versus this. Also covers Venusaur, and the Tyranitar was awkward because Mega Altaria is a pretty solid Tyranitar answer, but I definitely can lose to one that like is very fast and clicks taunt or like just something crazy. I wasn't like, and I didn't think the T-Tar was coming out. I actually thought the Greninja was coming out. Using like a Specs Ice Beam to maybe cover Altaria, or it could have been Gunk here. Gunk Greninja made a lot of sense because I think Tyranitar and Venusaur in general are very weak to Mega Gardevoir. Because like, you know, Psychic and Fairy. I thought it could have been a Gunk Greninja, like a mixed Gunk set. And my Zard Y handles that well. So I went Zard Y into the Greninja, but the Venusaur actually came out, which is interesting because that means that they were trying to hard cover the Altaria and or maybe beat a Charizard X that wasn't Belly Drum. So solid idea, but I just outplayed and I made the right pick. Honestly, a boring series because literally none of my techs came out, but I guess it is the idea that counts. Anyway, oh gosh, let's move on to this one. So yeah, I basically just got obliterated by Finchenator. Just straight up. I just straight up got obliterated. This first team I'm not proud of bringing. I got not just because it lost, but because it's just way too fancy. You can see the Mew. That Mew is absurd. Supposed to lure fairy types that Finchenator might bring with skill swapping the Pixelate. And it, long story short, it beats Gardevoir, Altaria, and Sylveon. And I still, with this crazy skill swap synchronized Will-O-Wisp idea, I still beat things like Mawile, potentially Metagross. It's honestly just really crazy. I shouldn't have brought it. It's way too swanky. And then I used that to pair with a very cool stall core idea I had of Chansey plus Mega Altaria. This was very out of my style, and I shouldn't have brought this team, but I did and I learned. Looking at Finch's team, Mono Psychic, cool. I don't think it's that cool because Psychic is a broken dual typing, so I don't really think it's like a mono type team. But anyway, this Victini was very obviously anti-Gyarados, and I figured it was either a Pasho Berry set or a weakness policy set. And then I looked at my team and I was like, oh shit, I can't do anything about that because I'm running a garbage ass Mew. Sad. Anyway, so I had to pick Chansey into the Meloetta Slowbro, and I knew it was weakness policy Victini, but still, for some reason, I made the bad play, and hold on a second. Dagnammit, I keep forgetting. Pause. Okay, what the heck just happened? Okay, even though I knew it was banned, for some reason, I still decided to click. Even though I knew it wasn't banned, I still tried to click counter turn 1, which was just a very bad play by me. I should have kept seismic tossing, and even though it still would have been a lot of 50-50s down the line, what then I let this do to me is I then tunnel visioned and just tried to counter and try to hope that Finchenator made the wrong play. Bad idea. I think I countered here again or thunder waved, and I just a bad plays, bam, 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 and I lost. Plain as that. I got punished for bringing what I would say a pretty bad team, too fancy, and I lost to a good Pokemon in Victini. So, game 2. I'm still happy that I brought this team, and I'm still happy with the play that I made during this, even though I lost. So, the idea of this team, I built this before PL actually, but I felt like it would match up well versus Finchenator. I built this with Bea, my week 1 opponent, a cool weakness policy Dragonite that basically beats Mawile, long story short. You like Dragon Dance turn 1, get the +3, Intimidate, you get the +2, you sub on the Sucker, etc. Weakness policy also beats a stupid amount of other stuff, like you can beat a Charizard X, Metagross, Lopunny, Garchomp. It's very cool. And the other notable thing about this team is the very cool defensive spec Sylveon with Draining Kiss to beat Sawk. Custap and Scarf Sock, you actually heal enough hit HP back so that Poison Jab doesn't do enough damage. Looking at this preview, I yet again bring a team that is 3-0'd by Balloon Heatran, and I didn't think that this Heatran was Balloon, but I figured that I wanted to pick what was my best chance into Heatran because Heatran just looked very good into my team. And it was my Dragonite, hoping that it wasn't Balloon. I also looked at the Kyurem, and I felt that this could have been a Haban Kyurem, because I knew that Potato Chan, who was building Finchenator's teams, really liked Haban Kyurem, and I can actually tank a non-attack invested Outrage even with Terravolt because I'm so stupidly defensive. But it was mainly a dedicated pick into the Heatran, and instead I just lost. He went a Scarf Kyurem. Turns out this was Balloon Heatran and Scarf Kyurem, which honestly makes a lot more sense looking back because you want to give Finchenator some more standard, very straightforward things during the first weeks of PL when he was new. And I just lost. I just got the wrong pick. I could have gone Sylveon hard into the Heracross / the Kyurem, but I just didn't. Nothing much else to it. Lost. Game 3. This is a team. I didn't put a lot of thought into the actual synergy of the team, but it felt good versus Finchenator because it was kind of like a triple lure team. You got Mawile here, which beats Slowbro with Swords Dance plus Punishment, which is pretty cool. Gyarados with Stone Edge kind of lures in Zard Y. And then this Roselli Kyurem is just an anti-fairy. And notice that Finchenator has not brought a single fairy type yet, which is hilarious. Fairy types are good. You guys should bring them, not just so that my lures work. But in this preview, long story short, I just thought that the Charizard was coming out. I was about to pick Mawile, but I thought to myself, my gut is telling me that Zard is coming out. And I didn't want to lose to that. And so I went Gyarados. And he basically predicted it with the Heracross. But what's unfortunate is that here, I definitely could have won. But I got crit twice by Rock Blast. I lived all 5 Rock Blasts. I even lived with only 1 crit. And I Dragon Dance turn 1, and I could have flinched the Heracross and won that match. But I can't complain about that hacks because he made the right pick into the Gyarados, and I shouldn't have been rewarded if I made a wrong pick like that. So I literally just got bodied by Finchenator. I got nothing else to say. Let's just move on to my favorite series so far. So now it's week 3, 1-1, or my record is 1-1, and now we are playing Mubs. So my idea with prepping for Mubs was, I remember once we had a conversation, and he told me that he felt that the most under-prepped 4 Mons in ORAS are Superior, Dragonite, Landorus, and like something else. And I was like, so cool. So I thought to build around Glalie. I wanted to use a really fun Pokemon that I don't think has ever seen the tournament scene in ORAS once. And it's a really cool set. The idea is I can endure turn 1 on a Zard Y clicking Blast Burn, which I don't know any Zard Y that doesn't. And then Hyper Beam it and kill it. I can also click Endure on a Charizard, clicking Flare Blitz and kill it with Hyper Beam. And Glalie still hits stupid hard. And with Freeze Dry, I can handle Pokemon like Gyarados with Taunt turn 1 on the Dragon Dance. And it did a lot of other quirky stuff, and I kind of just felt like bringing it because I thought it was really cool. And what's mainly about this preview though is that what's funny is when testing with this team, I originally had Counter on Sock. What Counter on Sock does is it basically hopes that a Mawile clicks Play Rough turn 1 and then dies to counter. And it does some other stuff, but I instead decided to switch it to Zen Headbutt so that I didn't lose to sub-disable Gengar. I see the Gengar in preview, I'm excited, I'm gonna hard click Sock into the Gengar. There was a part of me that maybe thought to go Volcanion into Mawile, but I was like, I put Zen Headbutt on this team for a reason, so that I click it when I see a Gengar. Auto click the Sock. Hilariously enough, if we look at this, he literally goes frickin' Mawile, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Don't tell me he clicks Play Rough turn 1. The man clicks Play Rough turn 1 and would have lost to Counter Sock. I'm not angry that that happened because I still would have gone with the Zen Headbutt, but like, just so you guys know, never click Counter turn 1. Click Sucker Punch. Just click Sucker Punch turn 1 so you don't lose to Counter. because you can get very easily cheesed by that. What am I doing? So anyway, yeah, that was unfortunate. I talked to Mubs after the match. Turns out that they got 3-0'd by Volcanion, I guess, because that Gengar was not sub-disabled. So whatever. Game 1, can't do anything about that. Good click by Mubs, because he knew that because Volcanion 3-0'd, that he had to give the best chance into Glalie and Sawk, and that was obviously Mawile. Anyway, game 2, dude. Oh, this is where some cool stuff come out, and finally one of my techs actually worked. Goodness. So we got a team that, you know, Archeops is a comfort mod of mine. I also thought Mubs was actually originally who got me to really think Superior was good, and it is, and Charizard X. But what's cool here is that this Archeops, I knew that Mubs' general idea of Archeops was choice band Archeops, you know, like obliterating Heatrans, Meloettas, all that stuff. And so I didn't think he would expect Scarf. But it doesn't really matter here, because Scarf Archeops 3-0s here with the really cool tech of Switcheroo Rest Archeops, which beats Registeel. So it didn't even matter if Mubs made the Registeel play hoping Charizard didn't come out. I was 3-0ing this team because I KO Volcanion and I KO Kyurem Black. None of those Pokemon have Endure. It's over. So very, very cool. So let's just jump right to it. Yeah, pretty simple. Switcheroo. They try to click counter, and I actually make a bad play here. The real tech is that you keep switcherooing until their last usage of counter, or it's something weird. I forgot what it was, but anyway, I won. He forfeited. He didn't see any reason to keep playing it. Bada bam, dude. Scarf, Archeops, chop chop. Let's go, dude. I was pumped up after that. Not just because I got a 3-0, but just like I won with such style. Speaking of style, you guys see the preview. Game 3, triple Greninja. Let's go, dude. So, my idea of bringing triple Greninja is Mubs was 0-2 at the time. And they're the type to really overthink. I knew that they were a big overthinker, and I felt confident that I could play some very insane mind games with triple Greninja, because they would be very, very afraid to lose to triple Greninja. So I bring it here, and there was a triple Greninja team that was used way back, but I made my own triple Greninja team. I took time with all my teams. This one is cool because with Scarf Bounce, I actually lure Mega Heracross and U-turn Hoopa Unbound. That's kind of known by ORAS people that triple Greninja is going to use U-turn for Hoopa Unbound, but I also like the sneaky double gunk shot here to double cover some fairy types. Anyway, here, my play was pretty simple. So you got Gardevoir and Zard. I knew that the Donphan had to be the dedicated Heatran answer. And I figured it's probably going to be banned Donphan because, you know, you have Sturdy, so you live any Specs hit. And Superpower will handle a Balloon Heatran, and then Earthquake obviously handles any Heatran that isn't floating on a balloon. And so I thought to myself, I was like, okay, so my banned Greninja is meant to beat both Zards with Rock Tomb and my defense investment. I can Gunk Shot the Gardevoir. And what I was scared of Donphan originally, but I realized this. He's going to go Donphan and he's going to click Superpower. Here's why. A Greninja that tries to sub on Donphan, it's always going to get broken by Superpower, and I can't break Donphan's Sturdy without them killing me with Superpower. But I have the very cool tech of Shadow Sneak on Greninja, which yes is not like super techy because it's there to like kind of cheese a Porygon Z or a Meloetta. I realized that a lot very, very experienced ORAS players would realize that, but here it was specifically for him clicking Superpower on a sub Greninja. And little do you know, he goes the Donphan, and I'm like, oh dude, okay, Shadow Sneak, bam, Protean, Ghost type, Superpower, and I'm like, please don't be banded, or please be banded, please be banded, please be banded. And he's banded. Bam, 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 bam. Gone, dude. Mono Greninja gets a win in Gen 6 1v1. I'm up 2-1. I'm feeling good. I just destroyed Mubs. Totally finessed him. Let's go on to this game. Where is the builder? Okay, so this is a cool team that I made. To be straight up, I forgot why I used Mega Alakazam. I think it looked good because it was against this general mindset. Mubs really liked to use a lot of just fast Pokemon in general, such as like a Greninja, such as like maybe like Archeops. I don't know. Like, to be honest, I don't remember exactly why, but I felt like Alakazam was a quirky Pokemon that I liked using that hasn't been seen before, and I just wanted to use it, and it felt good here. Had a very cool Diancie partner in Manectric. Very, very crazy preview, honestly, and yet again loses to Balloon Heatran. But I think what people need to realize is that, like, it's important to take risks in 1v1 tournament games. This is not the ladder where you have to beat everything. Take a risk and bring a team that's 3-0'd by something common if you maybe at least fake like you beat it in preview. My team doesn't do that very well, but I just felt like taking the risk, and it did pay off here. Where it didn't pay off is my Excadrill matchup. Excadrill kind of owns this team. I figured it wasn't a choice-locked Excadrill.
FYI, I'm just gonna say it all, and then if we like don't want.
Yo, Demi Lovato commercial. Can we please calm down? Thank you. Next. Wait, where am I? Where am I? Where am I? Where am I? Where is it? There you are. Okay, so preview look here. Alakazam. If it was a Scarf Excadrill or a Band Excadrill, I would have gone it and tried to hope for Protect Disable, but I didn't feel confident that it was that. I also definitely could have gone my Diancie here, hard beats Charizard, and with my cool skill swap tech, I secure the matchup versus Altaria, taking away his Pixelate. But I figured that the Excadrill was coming out. I was fairly confident that Excadrill was coming out, and my best chance at that was my Manectric. Yes, I don't have Magnet Rise, but I figured that I was doing some calcs. I'll probably put a calc up later after I post edit, and I lived an Earthquake from Excadrill, and I could just overheat twice was my idea. So I was excited to pick Manectric into this, even though I hard lost to the other two. So we're gonna play this slow. So let's look at this. So I go Manectric into the Excadrill. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna click Overheat turn 1, let's do this. Mega Evolve turn 1, Intimidate, I outpace, hit him hard with an Overheat. It's Akaberry Excadrill for Heatran. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. He clicks Earthquake, right? Okay, pause. So, here, I did some calcs, and my next Overheat was probably not going to KO because of the special attack drop. And I was like, okay, so I can do that and hope for a crit, but I have something better. If we look back at our team, I have Protect on my Mega Manectric. And what I can do is, I thought to myself, what if I fake like I have Magnet Rise? Like, I'll just get Mubs to overthink like I have Magnet Rise. So what I did is I waited a while with the timer, and then I clicked Protect. And then I waited a while again to get him to overthink, to fake like I had Magnet Rise. And check this out. I click Protect, right? You know, he clicks Earthquake again. He's like, oh man, does he have Magnet Rise? I click Overheat. I missed the Overheat. And I'm like, please don't tell me he clicked Iron Head. He clicked Iron Head. Oh my gosh, dude. I was in this guy's head and I didn't get rewarded for it. I was pissed. I was like, dagnammit. But like, whatever. Like, I was still confident going into game 5. I am in this guy's head. I am not losing game 5. So let's go to game 5. As you can tell by my excited tone, I definitely did not lose this. No. Ah, darn it. Hold on a second. This is a weird setup. Okay, let's go to game 5. Bam, 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 bam. Okay, so game 5, I just brought a comfort team. I really like using Charizard X. I really like using Mega Lopunny. I think that's a good Pokemon. And Specs Curum, Swanky can lure like an Aggron, a Crustle. Main idea here is I'm looking at Mubs' team, and I'm like, okay, how does he beat Zardwai? Registeel, Swampert, both drop. Has to be a Gardevoir that's specifically anti-Zardwai. And I knew of a set that actually uses Trick Room, Encore, Hidden Power Rock, Hyper Voice. The idea is Zard X, if they click Dragon Dance turn 1, you Trick Room, Encore, game over. You take any hit from Zardwai, Trick Room, Hidden Power Rock them. They're dead. I knew that it was that Gardevoir. I was very confident. And before I realized that, I actually almost picked my Specs Curum, hoping that I maybe, like, you know, could beat the Swampert, hoping that I catch a Registeel clicking Iron Defense turn 1. But I thought to myself, Mubs was playing very, very scared. He was overthinking, especially on that Excadrill game. That basically told me everything I need to know. And what is the chicken pick here? The chicken pick is going Gardevoir, hard into the Zard because I have a Zard on my screen, and hard into the Kyurem because I beat the two Pokemon that are very, like, you don't know what they're gonna run. And I don't think Mubs trusted himself here. He went that. And so I was like, okay, my Lopunny could definitely lose to this counter Registeel if it was counter. My chances versus Swampert are slim to none, but it's my hard answer to the Gardevoir. And so I trusted myself, and I went the Lopunny into the Gardevoir, and bada bam, I was rewarded. Fake out, bam, and I Giga Impact hit, see ya. That was a very, very good feeling win. Trusted myself, made the godlike pick game 5, and we are on to, well, actually no we're not, because I'm gonna stop here. I'll do the next 3 ORAS matches that I played. 2 of them I played, and the other one was Solwin's, which I gave him teams, but he honestly made the same picks that I would have. And I'll talk about those ORAS matches in my next video. Hope you guys enjoyed just kind of seeing how I think about ORAS 1v1 and the teams that I make and why I make them versus who. I wish I could get more specific into the prep, but you know, I'd have to go back to the Discord logs and like find out what I was spamming and what I was thinking and all that stuff. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for part 2 of my ORAS run in the 1v1 Premier League.